You're listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, a place to learn about how to grow your business and stay ahead of technological advances before they become mainstream. This episode is sponsored by Ingram Micro's Xvantage, the next level way to transform your business's potential and reshape how customers see you through advanced transactional data. Let's get into it. Welcome to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. I'm your host, Shelby Skrhak, and our guest today is Briana Lau, Global Cybersecurity Growth Solutions Manager for Ingram Micro. Briana, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Shelby.
Of course. Well, so we had Briana on the podcast just a few episodes ago to talk about seamless security with Ingram Micro Growth Solutions and specifically cyber insurance readiness. So today we're talking about adopting a Microsoft security practice with Ingram Micro Growth Solutions. But first, I wonder if we can kind of connect those two topics a little bit. I mean, tell us about what you're doing at Ingram Micro Growth Solutions.
Yeah, I think growth solutions is definitely a new concept that not many of our partners have heard us talk about. And it's rather recent, right? So here at Ingram Micro, we've become quite growth obsessed in helping our partners organize and define what their focus areas should be that can really drive optimized business outcomes and accelerated growth within their customers. And our mission is entirely focused on helping a partner build solutions that are customer-centric and what they're asking for. So in this growth solution approach, we actually limited the focus for ourselves and for our partners into four main pillars. The four areas of growth that we truly believe are the next wave of what customers are asking for is modern cloud platforms, where we focus on, app modernization or data and insights or AI and ML. Seamless security, which is my focus area around endpoint identity and security operations. We have connected workplace, which is all about building more around collaboration apps, virtual desktops, and digital experiences. And then lastly, business performance, things like CRM, ERP, low code to no code, and workforce automation. So that's just to give us an idea of what we mean around growth solutions and generally what we're thinking about when we say we're helping our partners build solutions around it.
So these are the areas that the top four, looking at it from a partner standpoint, those are the top four areas that that growth is happening, industry wide, and I guess across the channel. So that's what you're focused on, and that makes sense. I mean, seamless security and security in general, gosh, that is very top of mind. So what does then, from where we are right now, which we know cybersecurity is, a lot of times we're just trying to keep up with the bad actors. But, what does then the future of cybersecurity look like in the channel?
Yeah, it never comes as a surprise when we say that cybersecurity is a growth pillar for us. Our partners are hearing it on the news. They hear it from their customers. They hear it from law enforcement and policymakers like cyber insurance providers who are adjusting their frameworks to advise better around new policies that need to be set up based on kind of the growth of bad actors, right? So when we think about the future cybersecurity, we know from our research and why we came down to those four main areas of growth for our pillars is by 2025, it's estimated that $129 billion is going to be spent on cybersecurity alone, which is actually not reducing in spend compared to overall IT budgets. So as we continue to start focusing our efforts, we want to make sure that partners are building for tomorrow's spending behaviors of what CIOs or CISOs are looking for. Looking at also recent IDC spending guides, one that was released in March of this year, we're seeing that spending priorities are mainly focused on endpoint security, identity management, and SIM. While these are not exclusively meant for cloud instances, the importance of these security categories become more and more pronounced in the cloud ecosystem. It's a platform that's used to aggregate all your logs and events that are gathered from your endpoint, your cloud, your network. It's a really robust tool that is allowing partners to oversee their entire security operations center.
Yeah, kind of single pane of glass, right?
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, yeah. So I'm following you then. So, endpoint and SIM, and those are the directions then that you're seeing.
Yes. And also identity. And, for example, with more and more cloud adoption, this is going to eventually lead to more endpoint connections, which is going to be extremely big, especially considering that, the driving behavior after endpoint adoption is MDR, or managed detection and response, right? So rather than just collecting events, you're going to want to have a human element on the end, be able to respond to those threats, act as a threat monitoring tool to be able to effectively respond better in a more machine learning approach. And we actually see that 50% of organizations will be using this by 2025. So it's only showing that, with less and less IT or qualified security professionals in the market, a lot of these customers are going to be leaning on their partners or their MSPs to really act as that service nature and show strength in that area.
That makes perfect sense. And we know the challenges in the labor market trying to find qualified security professionals. There's just not enough. And so yeah, that makes sense then. So they're leaning on their MSPs to provide this level of security that is vital in the marketplace now. Well, this might be a little redundant then, but so I guess to make it clear then, so how does a focus on security help partners drive growth and innovation? I mean, they're looking to their MSPs for this help, but I guess what specific areas within security do you see as most promising for partners?
Yeah, so definitely spending priority is going to be a main factor in the effectiveness of MSPs driving growth and innovation. And security is one main topic, right? So we did cover that the three main focus areas for seamless security, how we're identifying the cybersecurity landscape, is endpoint security. So things like EDR and XDR, this represents truly a basic block for an organization to be compliant or safe. And it's not necessarily the most expensive tool, but it's definitely one of the highest priority of security solutions, and especially as a prerequisite for organizations to achieve cyber insurance, which is a precursor to our first podcast that we did. The second one is around identity security, like identity and access management. And this is one of the top three prioritized spending areas of where organizations are going to try and build an identity and access management compliance that meets certain regulations like HIPAA and GDPR, where data and user rights are extremely important. And then lastly, security operations. So bringing it back to the tools and the people for that 24/7 management powered by a SIM platform, which we discussed earlier. These are truly the biggest growth and innovation solutions and achievements and goals and targets that an MSP should definitely go for. And, it's really hard to define where's that first step to get started and become a security first MSP. And the way that we like to guide our partners is by utilizing that do more with less slogan that Microsoft is putting into market. Just simplifying the approach of looking at solutions like Microsoft 365, particularly the business premium SKU, where it starts to consolidate things like endpoint and identity security, those two main focus areas that we identified, and being able to package that up into a consolidated subscription that they're also purchasing for productivity use, right? You're using your Outlook calendar, you're using your Word, your PowerPoint, that type of office type productivity tools. And, we actually see that partners are more open to Microsoft security. They've recently gained a lot of notoriety in various Gartner quadrants and Forrester Wave reports. So, their leader status in things like endpoint protection platforms and identity and access management are definitely helping waiver some of the confusion or, I guess, risk that they might have in perspective of other providers that may do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for us to really advise our partners, we really do think that the do more with less approach and leaning into Microsoft and its security toolset is a really great place for MSPs to start.
So, a quick follow up: when you mentioned the risk or the confusion, they're kind of trying to decipher all of these tools. I guess, how do you see that from the Ingram Micro standpoint? Because Ingram Micro does offer a lot of different solutions. So for that, that MSP or the reseller that is looking to Ingram Micro, saying, okay, I need help for my customers that need help. You said it's difficult to know where to start. Where do you start then? I mean, how do you put these Ingram Micro growth solutions to work for you? And I guess what specific resources or support do you offer partners?
There's variation of things that we can do to support, right? It starts with maybe programmatic elements. So if partners are like, yep, I know that Microsoft is definitely the journey that I want to proceed on, we actually have a program that's called the Microsoft Security Expert Program. And it's been something that we've been organizing and supporting partners globally on for the last 4 years. And recently, so we actually won 2 years in a row a CRN 5-star partner program rating.
Oh, wow.
Just based on their outlook of distributor programs and where they're seeing partners actually gain a lot of benefits from. And walking through what that program looks like, right? It's truly condensing down what could be a half year, 1 year approach for a partner doing it themselves, of building the framework, building the practice, building the technical and sales expertise to sell confidently. We condense it down into a 3-month framework where we're arming you with our subject matter experts to help advise on pre-sales or post-sales calls, support in terms of cybersecurity assessments to lean on that as a precursor into discussions around cybersecurity, and getting really valid information around the customer's environment, both on-prem and cloud, to clarify what their areas of risk are and opportunity for them to improve within 0 to 30 days or more. Other things like marketing development funds, we have workshops, we have certification training for you to put your technical administrators in, just so that they get the right certifications to actually implement some of these technical controls. A lot of that goes into the framework of the program. And so we're technically and essentially giving away $6,000 of value to our partners that have built that business plan. They want to achieve that goal of getting started with Microsoft and growing their security practice there. And we've done some measurement, right? And this is why, we're being recognized by CRN for the magnitude it brings to the partner ecosystem. And that within 5 months' time, we're actually seeing that partners who are enrolled in the program actually increase their revenue an incremental 25% more than
Wow.
the average partner within Ingram, specialized in Microsoft. And they actually have increased their end customer revenue by an additional 21%, and at the same time reduced churn. So their end customer churn is actually 34% compared to the baseline churn rate under that. So we start seeing from these data point measures that what we're doing to facilitate a partner and specializing with security is actually supporting their overall business and being, much more consultative in nature and more well-rounded to what a customer is actually looking for in their future growth areas.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that 25%. I was, when you started that sentence, I thought, oh, okay, maybe 10, 15%. That seems conservative because, this type of program with all of the training and the learning and the certifications, surely it can't make that much of a difference. But wow, it's 25%. That's nothing to sneeze at.
No. And when there's commitment from both parties, Ingram and the partner, a lot can be achieved. It's just truly knowing where you want to go within the next half year, quarter. And we can set out the foundation for you, but it's truly a commitment from you too, right? That you truly want to grow in security.
How do you recognize that though? There's always I know I need to do this, but how do you really recognize that you're absolutely limiting your growth and revenue by not diving into this? I guess, what do you hear from partners that are working with Ingram Micro Growth Solutions? Like, where were they before that they were like, when this happened, fill in the blank. That's when I really realized, I'm limiting myself. I basically have a throttle on everything that I do, and I need to, expand to security.
Yeah, it's generally feedback around the worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
I've been breached, right?
Yep.
Or there might be certain business triggers like your end customer has to get cyber insurance. And because they're now up for cyber insurance to protect themselves, they're going to have to lean on a qualified partner to get them ready in terms of the technical controls there. But a lot of the roadblocks, I should say, from a partner's growth perspective, is mainly around services, or more importantly, certification and training. I think those are the two biggest roadblocks that we've been able to gather from surveys that we've pushed on to our partners of what is the biggest challenge, right?
Right.
And, in those two areas, especially around services, we have our Center of Excellence teams that are based in North America, Eastern EMEA, or Europe, and APAC, that can help augment some of the service line items that are generally discovered in cybersecurity discussions. We talked about cybersecurity assessments as a half-day kind of assessment scan, almost seen as a vulnerability scan, just to see where that customer is in their security posture. It's aligned to the CIS control framework. So it's a very measured approach of where they need to improve in terms of their risks. And our Center of Excellence can actually deliver 2 free scans for every partner within our channel to go forward and start positioning a cybersecurity conversation to management or their end customers that are reluctant to change. We also have other service augmentation services like, helping with the professional services elements of standing up correctly all the different areas that are offered within Microsoft 365 Business Premium, which in some cases for a lot of partners is the hero SKU for their end customers that fall within the SMB space, so under 300 users, to get at least the security baselines of mobile device management and endpoint detection and response tools and things that are offered within Microsoft 365 that are truly meant to at least provide 80% or 80 to 90% of the CIS control framework implementation group 1, which is a big goal for a lot of SMBs to achieve. And so that's around the services area, but around the technical training and certification, which is another main, headache for MSPs, we've recently built a partnership with Pluralsight, which is actually a leading online on-demand video type learning platform that has certification paths for all partners to get, Microsoft certifications, if that's an ambition of theirs, to be recognized as a Microsoft Cloud Partner Program certification holder of modern work or security, for example. If AWS is one of the hyperscalers that you want to focus on, they also have certification paths for that. Or if you want to be recognized from a agnostic standpoint, CompTIA and ISC squared is also, defined within Pluralsight. And so this is how we're guiding partners that, we can help support with the investment, or you can invest in yourself through Pluralsight to really get you up to the technical knowledge of being able to validate the work behind the scenes and showcase those badges on your website with honor.
Yeah, absolutely. So for listeners who want to find out more about anything that we talked about today, how can they reach out?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me. We have an email to help with any questions that you might have. It's seamless-security@ingrammicro.com, and that'll go directly to me. So if you have any other questions about what we covered, that's the best way to reach me.
Perfect. Now, my very last and most serious question, who do I have to talk to get Microsoft was it autopilot? Basically like the super duper AI of productivity where it'll create all these create all these designs and presentations. Who do I bet my eyelashes at to get that?
Oh, Copilot, that new AI. Yes.
Yes. I should probably know the name before I go batting my eyelashes at people.
Autopilot is also a great tool.
Yeah.
But Copilot is definitely something that we're building up our go-to-market around. So we don't have anything yet, but if you want to still reach me out at Seamless-Security, we can help figure out your motion around security and AI.
Love it. Love
with
it.
Copilot.
All right, Briana, I really appreciate the time and the insight today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in and subscribing to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. If you'd like this episode or have a question, please join the discussion on Twitter with the hashtag B2B Tech Talk. Until next time, I'm Shelby Skrhak.
You've been listening to B2B Tech Talk by Ingram Micro. This episode was sponsored by Ingram Micro Xvantage. B2B Tech Talk is a joint production between Sweetfish Media and Ingram Micro. To listen to this episode and many others, visit ingrammicro.com.